And we are live.
Slow down, everybody just keep it cool, while others have been taking for fun. Slow down, everybody just keep it cool, while others have been taking for fun. Do you really wanna go there? Push it forward. Do you really believe you can afford it? A world full of violence and self-destruction distract us from the ways of revolution. Slow down now, you forever going too fast. Slow down now, if you want to work to last. Slow down, while others are being. Slow down, everybody just keep it cool, while others are being taken for fun. Slow down, everybody just keep it cool, while others are being taken for fun. Run on the rat track, run faster and faster. No, you never looking back, provoking a disaster. Never stop for a minute and relax. Slow down now, take a break, catch your breath. I know what I have to slow down and I've been happy and for all of that. We don't want to stress all of the time. We gonna be happy and for all of that. All of that, all of that. Slow down. Everybody just keep it cool, while others are being taken for fun. Slow down. Everybody just keep it cool, while others are being taken for fun. Slow down. Everybody just keep it cool, while others are being taken for fun. Slow down. Everybody just keep it cool, while others are being taken for fun. Slow down. Everybody just keep it cool, while others are being taken for fun.
And I've got another one once it loads up for you all. Here is Harry, Chris UK, and Flat Earth Pilgrim Mark out in Oban today. I'm going to show you what they were doing for those that missed it. So as you can see, the guys have got the banner out there by the water. And to me, that was surprisingly busy for Oban. They had the camper van parked up right there, as you can see, with the banners out on the pavement. And there's a lot of interest there. A lot of people are stopping and looking.
We always seem to have the most difficulty with the school children.
They're all having a good look. They're all having a good look. It's very encouraging to see them not just marching past.
A little bit for everyone. I'll make sure that he's taking my there's no point doing
as most places do.
Possibly better just to bomb it. The environment can probably handle the smoke better than burning it. I've been tempted to get they never call it flat earth anymore. They never call it earth anymore.
Excuse me.
Yes.
If the earth is not flat, why? If the earth is not a circle, why is it a circle in there? If the earth is not a circle, why is it a circle in there?
That's what we're presented with. So I'm asking you, if you were on top of the ball earth and you dug a hole to jump through, just wide enough for your feet, what would come out the other side?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? Why not sure? You jump through a ball, feet first, what's going to come out the other side?
I'm not.
Now, just be silly now. I ask you a serious question. What's going to come out, your feet or your head? Okay, well, then you'd be the opposite to everybody else there, wouldn't you? So how does that work? Do you think there's any possibility that you could have been told an untruth about where you live? Is that flat water or is it not?
Yes.
Do you see any bendy water? Have you ever seen bendy water?
And the river.
No, it's not bending, though, it's just flowing down the river. Have you ever seen bendy water going around the ball?
Yeah.
Where?
Hurricane thing.
Where?
Hurricane thing.
When you flush your toilet.
You flush your toilet, the water runs down, doesn't it? No, it goes down through a tube.
What's the thing that happens when the circle gets in the hole?
Whirlpool.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Yes, but water cannot conform to the outside.
So this is a 50-minute live feed. I didn't want to stick on one thing for too long. I wanted to show you a few different things from the live feed today. There was 2 separate live feeds.
I mean, nothing that was provable.
But don't they all?
But at least he was polite enough.
At least he was sensible enough not to say science in some of its nonsense. We don't get that, do we?
No.
The fantastic Chris UK.
That's a prick my ears up in hell and say that.
Yeah, that's why I called you earlier. I thought this guy's got his head screwed on somewhere all quiet.
Yeah.
He's set his ways, though. I think it's quite hard for him.
Yeah, but some people are like that to your face, and he'll think about it. He'll think about it. Go away, and he'll go and do a little bit of research. And this doesn't make sense, and maybe he'll look further. But whatever, maybe
It's an ex-comment. I was wrong.
We've done our bit. We've highlighted it. Go and look at it. It's up to you.
Yeah, well said, Chris.
You can't be us. It's yours.
Yeah.
Why do you believe what you believe?
That's what we've told me.
Well said.
Exactly.
Well said.
We've become very robotic in what we've been told.
We have. I think we've become a civilization of robots just walking around preaching what we've been taught. You know, from where I'm standing, that's how it seems to me. Hello, everyone. I'm joined by John Smith Global Eye and Chris UK live from the tour bus in Oban just now. And I thought I'd start off with a little bit of music and then go straight into some of, like I said, some of Harry's live feed today. Harry did 2 live feeds from Oban with a short break in between. And I just want to say, yeah, personally, I was stunned with the amount of traffic and people that went through there today. You know, for the breaks that you had in the weather, I was really impressed that people were just not doing tunnel vision and just walking by the shoreline like we've seen in other places. They were stopping, they were looking. A lot of people were engaging. A lot of people were asking questions. They know that, you know. How do you feel it went, boys?
You first. Excellent day. The weather was fantastic. The just the place, it's so beautiful up our Scotland, and the people. We had a couple of kids. You saw the kids. That was probably the worst we got in the whole day. And it was just kids being kids. But the questions, the quality of the people there, and it's just a really friendly, nice place. I've really enjoyed today. It's the first day we've had, quite a good night's sleep. We've gone out and done it. We parked right on the front. Couldn't have got a better spot. Got the banner on, and everyone that walked past was looking. And quite a few people were asking questions. And some people were going past, going, and then they come back again and ask questions afterwards because they've obviously gone away. So we've every pub in Oban must be talking about what's happened. The flat Earth van parked on the front. Everybody's seen it. So I should think every pub people having conversations.
You definitely see it from a good 100 yards away.
I think everybody walked past on the other side of the road as well, photographed the bus, stopped and got the camera out and photographed it. But what was pleasing for me was that Chris has never been to Oban before, coming from England, and it was a joy to see Chris appreciate how beautiful it was. I love Oban.
I think up there boasts some of the most beautiful vistas in the UK. I think the second to none. I think you're going to see some of the most beautiful backdrops, I think, that this country's got to offer.
After we stopped filming, we had something to eat in the van, and it stopped raining again, but then lots of more people came, and we just got caught up talking to them, and I didn't even bother about my camera because it was just quite busy. And having to recharge things and batteries, I thought, so we just engaged off camera with so many people. It was really busy later on, maybe 20-30 people standing there.
I saw that quite a lot throughout the live feed, to be honest with you. I saw various different groups of about 20 to 30 people. As the people were moving through, they were stopping, they were mingling. Those people were moving through, the next set of people were coming through, and it felt like a consistent flow of people that were coming through.
Yeah, and we met some flat earthers, didn't we, Harry?
Yeah, we're always meeting flat earthers wherever we go. It's so fantastic.
How many was it? About three? 2 or 3?
Oh no, I met a couple when you two were at the.
All right, so it's more than that.
Yeah.
So
three Chinese ladies came up. I just got my drone in there to do some filming, and 3 Chinese ladies came up, and she pointed the finger in my face. We know it's flat. I thought,
really?
Could I just go and get my camera and we could do a little interchange on the camera? I said, no, we're going off grid, but we know. And thank you so much for doing this and for being out here doing it. And off they went.
Wow. See, again, that just goes to show going out there and having that human interaction with people where you're not online, that wouldn't have happened online.
Yeah, they're completely off grid and didn't have mobile phones, smartphones. They just had the little untraceable phone.
See, there is people out there like that do that.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm just kind of thinking to myself throughout the whole day. I watched both of the live feeds today, the entirety of the live feeds today. I think a few hundred people were open to the questioning what they've been taught. How many people do you think you saw looking at those banners today?
Well, I can't remember how long was it. Was it 3 hours? 4 hours?
I'd say 1,000 people, more than 1,000 people have seen our band. And every time we went through the village, we beat the horn quietly, so people turn around and they're looking at this band going past in the villages. So a lot of people have seen it. As we're going through villages, we're beeping the horn to turn heads, and it's like, wow! You can see it's like we're famous, but we're not famous. But the band's famous.
Yeah, a lot of Oh, I seen your van earlier, and yeah, we passed it on the roads, and it's when it was sitting there in Oban, it's just a constant stream of traffic going past. So you have buses, cars, vans driving past constantly. So,
I saw with the people that there was a lot of people in the background doing that and taking pictures and doing that and taking pictures. I lost count. I did start counting them, thinking, oh, there's probably going to be maybe a dozen people that do that. And then I just went, there's a lot of people doing that. There's like multiple people at the same time doing that and stuff. It's really encouraging to see. For me, do you remember that one guy that came up and he was like, I know it's flat, like it's fine. I know it's flat. I've researched into a lot of things. And then what did you ask him? And then he was like, no, I've got to go. I'm late or whatever it was. But he literally just came up out of nowhere and said, yeah, I know this is all true. You're doing a great job. That's so encouraging to see when I see people doing that.
yeah,
I know that they're out there having human interactions. It's encouraging.
I think we've heard so many people say that to us, and yeah, you're right, Roxanne. It's just so encouraging when you hear that over and over again. We're just so glad you're out here and appreciating that somebody's out in the street doing that.
I wanna talk about and just for everybody that's watching, I just want to thank everybody that's tuned into watching. I want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat room just now. I want to give a shout out to John Thor. Thank you so much for being here and being the awesome moderator and person that you are, my darling. Zoo Scott, Richie B, Fe, Rob Kiln. Thank you for tuning in. I want to say thank you to 54 AMH for tuning in. And everybody that's taking the time out this evening to be with us here live. I want to let you all know that in the description box, I put all of the links for all of the various different ways that you can donate to this tour. You can donate through PayPal, you could donate through GoFundMe, and you can donate through Patreon. All three of those links are in there as well. The links for FESTART are in there for this UK and for John Smith Globalized channel. John Smith Global is going to try and go live at some point each day while they're at different locations. So if you click the notification bell on his channel, you'll be notified as soon as possible when he goes live. I know that YouTube's playing havoc with some people's notifications, so just try and stay on it. As far as tour dates go and places, I've had a lot of questions about that over the last 24 hours. And I just wanted to clarify where we're at with tour dates. So in the meantime, until I can get proper long range clarification of where everyone's going, I would just say to stay up to date with things, stay up to date with Harry and Jason, mine, John Thor's channel, Chris UK's channel, everyone that you can see that's been involved in the tour so far. I would stay up to date with their YouTube channels. I'm also going to be posting as many things as I can that are helpful on the comment section of Harry's channel. And in the chat room will be as helpful as it possibly can. If you've got any questions for the tour, by all means, if anything's in the chat room, fire away. If Harry's obviously live, he's not going to be available to answer those questions because he can't always see the chat room. But we will try and be as helpful as possible. But for now, the forecasts that we give are the only forecasts that we can give just now. It's not that those dates aren't happening. In fact, some additional locations are probably going to be put in the UK, if I'm being honest with you. But for now, what kind of forecast can you give the viewers that are watching because the finale of the tour is in London on the 3rd of November. But in the meantime, this tour is going to have 50 odd locations over 8 weeks. We're almost halfway through the tour, almost. So by the time you're halfway through the tour, you'll have probably done about 25 locations. So with that being said, what are you guys going to be doing over the next 24 hours?
Well, tomorrow we'll be arriving at Johnny Groats, the most northerly point of the British mainland. We already did Land's End, which was the most southerly point of the mainland. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty sparse population. It's just a couple of hotels and guest houses there. So that we're going to go there for that iconic picture of having the banner out at the end, at both ends of the earth, sort of thing. The earth, did I say the earth? I meant the country. We're not going that far, sorry. We're just doing the UK, at either ends of the UK. So, then we're going to Thursday. We might be doing that tomorrow as well.
Thurso is a small town right near the top of Scotland. But if we manage to do them both in one day, we'll do them. But if not, we'll do them separately. But I give a two-day period to complete both of them because it's such a long drive to get up there and to come back down again.
Right.
The gentleman who has the shop in Inverness, Flat Earth shop, he's joining us tomorrow and going to go with us. And then after the 2 days we do Thurso and Johnny Groats, we're coming back down to Inverness and we're going to do some items in Inverness on the third day. So then after that it's off to Aberdeen, then down to Stirling and Perth, and on to Newcastle.
Brilliant.
I think Middlesbrough and Huddersfield. I'm not too sure after that because all my dates are on the phone, so I'm just going from memory. So apologies, I'm not getting it accurately after that, but that is accurate up to Newcastle anyway.
I was wondering, is it possible for you to do something along the lines of, once you do have some confirmed dates and places, could you possibly post them on the About section of your YouTube page? You know, the page that gives it about. You could post it on there. I'll do the same on mine once I've got the dates, and if I could urge Jason to do the same on his as well, because then that's a fixed point for everybody to go to for updated locations and dates. So just for everybody watching, as soon as we've got some confirmations, just flick over to the About section of everybody's YouTube page, and you should be able to get a running commentary of what's going on as and when we
a friend who has the Flat Earth shop in Inverness, he's got great banners as well, so he'll be bringing them up.
So tomorrow's going to be an interesting one, because how many banners did you have out today? Can you give me a rough number of how many were out today?
We had a few that we didn't put out. We didn't want to encroach the space because people were already walking by on some of the banners, so there wasn't much space, was it, Chris?
Well, we were walking on them as well, so people just got, I did occasionally.
Yeah, so there wasn't. I don't think there's that much room, but yeah, we've got a few more banners to put out, but depends on where we are on the location, see if they're suitable or not.
Okay, and you're saying the guy with the Flat Earth shop, he's got some banners as well, so there's going to be some more in the mix, possibly.
Yeah, got really good banners, yes, and I just want to say thanks to everybody in Oban today. It was just a really interesting bunch of people we met, so varied and open-minded, so it's fantastic.
It's really lovely and encouraging to see you guys having said that it's been a positive day, you've had positive interactions, it's been a lovely area, the people have been lovely. I think more of that to come would be lovely, if anything. I'd love to hear that. Absolutely love to hear that. One thing I do want to say is, out of all of the interactions that you've had with people today, what would be the kind of consistent narrative that you saw with people that you were interacting with today? Would you say that a surprising amount of people were open-minded today?
Yeah, absolutely. But what surprised me was that I think for the amount of people that are walking past, I think today I see more people stop, because I think when me, Mark and Aaron did the Highland tour there, we did it at exactly the same spot. And a news reporter came up to speak to us to say, this is really unusual in Oban, we've never seen this before. And I think that reflects on the people walking past and stopping to have a look and taking it all in, because I think you might get that in a bigger city where you get a lot of that happening with people with demonstrations or projects right on the street. But I don't think Oban's used to that sort of thing. So I think everybody did stop and look at it. I didn't see many people walking by.
Like it was only a couple of months ago you were there, so maybe the fact that you've gone back there a couple of months later after being reported on is still fresh in people's minds. So they kind of will probably stand there going,
yeah, it might have been a local press. I don't know, but the newspaper did do a wee interview with us. But I just think of the fact that it doesn't happen very often. So people walking up and down there every day, and then all of a sudden this big display and a big van as well. So you can't miss it.
You know what? That spot that you parked up at today was absolutely perfect. You couldn't have picked a better spot. Right by the banners, and just there.
Right by the flat ocean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Flat as a pancake.
It's great. It's absolutely. I think that's absolutely fantastic. If you've got water next to you.
Yeah.
Because I kept saying,
turn around. Yeah.
Is that flat or is it not flat? Yeah. Right then. You know, it's a great starting point, and to use that as a reference.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And as you're going through this tour, Harry, like I said, we're almost halfway through the tour now. You've been on the tour for about 3 weeks. What's your take on things 3 weeks into this? No.
Well, I think it's just been such a positive experience, and I think if we were doing it and we weren't getting much positive feedback, then I think we'd maybe our spirits would be down, and maybe we'd be thinking, oh, this is not viable, and why are we doing this? But the further on we go, just I think the more encouragement you get, and you think, yeah, we're doing the right thing here, and we are affecting change, however small that may be. Driving in the motorway with Flat Earth van, you know, I just think so many people are seeing it and willing to engage, and it's been wonderful. That's 6 people now being on the tour bus, coming out and doing great work.
Half a dozen people.
Yeah, from Jason, John, Terry, now Chris. This was Chris's first time on it, so I'd like to ask Chris
On the tour.
What's his impression of being on the tour so far?
It's very exciting. It's meeting people. It's just like it's Speaker's Corner, but day after day after day after day after day.
Love it.
Meeting people.
Love it. That sounds like my kind of tour.
Yeah, because we're getting challenged all the time by really intelligent people, and they're not walking away laughing. They're walking away with questions to go and look at, because they listen to what we say. First they challenge us, and think we're idiots, and then after, when they realise we're not stupid, we've done our research, then they start asking questions and we answer them, and they go away to go and look at things, which is that's what we're here for, to get people to look at this.
That's what it's for.
And it's working.
That's right.
And
would you say that confidently, Chris? Would you definitely stand by that? Would you say this is working?
It's definitely it cannot fail. It's waking people up. The conversations this has started. It's massive. Harry's going around the whole country, waking people up, starting so many conversations all around the country. They can't ignore it. They can try to ignore it, but it's in the face. Yeah.
That's right.
People go to work on Monday and say, "Listen, did you see the Flat Earthers?" I spoke to them, and talking to the kids. It's just going to have a really massive impact.
Yeah, was it you today that said that people are going to go away now and have these conversations when they go home? When they get home, they're going to go, "Do you know what I just saw in town?" And then it sparks up another conversation. And it only when a family is going off on one, it only takes one person in the family to go, "No, have you actually looked into this now?"
Correct. We have a few people that laugh and they take a photograph, but that they're going to go home and talk to people, and someone's going to go, "I've looked into this, and they've got something. You need to look into it," and it's just going to snowball from there. I think it's this idea. I thought when it first started, I thought, well, yeah, it's a good idea, but once it's got going and involved, you realise what a massive impact this is having. It's a idea, and we all got together and got it to work.
Absolutely.
And the people that are contributing to it are getting it to work, because it wasn't for people contributing towards getting this and making this happen, it wouldn't happen.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes, and just yesterday, we were in dire straits, and our spirits were lifted today with people's kind contributions, which keeps the tour going. Basically, without those contributions, it would end. So I just say thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
I'll second that, Harry. While we're on the subject of donations, I believe you've got a little shout out to give, if that's all right. If I could get you to that. Are you able to use a device to go into your Facebook Messenger to have a quick look?
Can you give me a clue?
Faith, can I give you a clue? There's like 20 odd names there. So where would you like me to start? Would you like me to do it for you? I'm happy to do that because Harry's on his phone at the moment, so he hasn't actually got access to the list of people. But I'd be absolutely honoured to out the list that have kindly donated to the forefront of activism regarding the truth. And that is exactly what this is, everyone. I want to stress that to you all right now. This is the forefront of activism, okay? This is an 8-week tour over 50 locations in England, Ireland, Scotland, and Northern Wales, yeah? Did you go to South Wales? I mean, sorry, not Northern Wales, Ireland, Northern Ireland. You went to Southern Ireland as well, right? So you did more than the UK, if that's the case. So, where am I here? Okay, so I'd like to start by saying thank you very much to everybody that's donated over the last 24 hours. I'd like to thank Ben. In fact, I'll say Ben B. I won't say his whole name, but Ben B. Thank you very much. Scott T. Thank you so very much. Gary P. Thank you very much. Derry F. Thank you very much. Francis H. Thank you very much. Alec M. Thank you very much. Steve F. Thank you very much. JC Gold, thank you very much for your kind donation this afternoon. Robbie, thank you so much for your kind donation as well. Craig F. Massive thank you to you, my darling. And Ben B. Also, a thank you to you all. You've no idea what a difference you're making. You're literally keeping the wheels turning, including myself, including the likes of Chris, including the likes of yourself, Harry, and everyone else that's put their hand in their pocket and put into it. Because it's taking a team of people to make this happen. No one individual is making this happen. I don't really know, even in my circle of friends, how many people have just got a few £1,000s sitting in their account as disposable cash to just go and squander on whatever they want. I don't. We're literally keeping our heads above water like most people are. That's how society has us clicked in, paying our mortgages, our gas, electric, council tax, you name it. We've got 15 things to pay for before we even think of doing anything for ourselves. So the fact that people are even able to donate £5 is a massive appreciation from us. No matter how small, no matter how large your donation is, this tour is going to keep going, and it's going to keep going with the help of the likes of people like yourselves that have donated. So I just want to give a personal thanks from where I'm sitting. I was involved in the original conversations with Harry and Chris UK there, and Jason of the Disbury, and Dave Mannell and Robin from Lifting the Lid. From us all just talking together and coming up with this, to you sitting there right now almost halfway through this tour, sitting there with Chris UK on the camper van is big for me, because like Jason, like Robin, you're one of the individuals, Chris, that was involved in the birth of this idea. And it was a lot of scratching heads and having conversations, and we were going, is this doable? Is this, I mean, or is that a bit too much? 8 weeks, can we really do that? Is that 50 days out? Is that, like you said, Chris, it was a little bit of humming and hawing to begin with, but there was a little bit of self-belief that was having a battle there, and our individual self-beliefs won the battle, and that's why you're sitting there now. We've made this a reality. We've made this a reality, and we've not just done this by ourselves. We've done this with the help of every single person that's put into this. If you're not the type of person to want to get out there on the streets, and you've inadvertently done that by donating to this and aiding and abetting the people that are willing to go out onto the streets, because we're willing to go out to the streets on behalf of you all. Anyone that's willing to go out on the streets is willing to do that on behalf of others that aren't able to do that. And that doesn't take away from the fact that people know the truth. Not everyone's, but my partner's not built for that. He's like a big burly guy, and he's not built for going out and doing activism on the streets. He's the kind of guy that's too triggered. He hasn't got anger management issues, but it's not his fight. It's not his fight to have. He's got other fights that he's having. He's doing his thing, and I respect him for that. But this is my fight, and this is what I wake up in the morning thinking about. I'm a mummy first and foremost. I run my family, my household. I work. I do what I've got to do, but I don't do you know, menial things anymore. I can't do, you know, mundane stuff anymore. It doesn't do it for me. Some people play golf, some people go horse riding. I like to go activating. And
If I
do that.
if I could go back to what we were talking about, Chris coming on the tour. I mean, sometimes I can't see the wood for the trees because I'm so busy. I'm in it. And then the first week when me and Jason were out was a bit like that. But then John and Terry came on board, and seeing their enthusiasm for what we were doing hit home a bit more. And they both, Terry and John, did a splendid job with this. And Mark and Chris came on the other day, and hearing that from Chris there, it just reminds me of what an effect we're having. And you know, he can see firsthand the effect we're going around with the van and going through the villages, and the people who take an interest in the van and the banners and engage with us. So seeing that from an outside perspective that I perhaps wasn't totally appreciating because I was too busy with other things, it's been refreshing, great to see, very encouraging. Yeah, well, you're too involved in trying to get from A to B, and stressed out about getting there, getting it done, not letting people that contributed down. So, but I can see it's massive impact, and we're going to learn how massive it is after we've finished.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's I think that's the most stressful thing, and you know, you're expected, people are expecting you to go live at some point, and complications and problems arise, and I suppose that puts a bit of stress on me. And
well, the biggest worry Harry has is letting people down, not going live. And because we're in Scotland, sometimes there's no internet, the Wi-Fi's down, we can't get in the middle of nowhere. And Harry gets that's the thing that stresses him out the most, is letting people down. Because loads of people have contributed a 5 or 10 and more. And Harry's putting himself under a lot of pressure to not, he doesn't want to let anyone down, and he's not letting anyone down. He's doing such a grand job.
I haven't got any money on me. Just
well, he is. It's,
all
credit to Harry, because this wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Harry.
Yes, it would, fair enough, but it wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Roxanne there doing a splendid job there, and the people who don't get great mentions like John Thaw, Dave Mannell, and Robin behind the scenes, been very, very supportive, and the people who've come on the tour bus, Jason, Terry, and Mark.
I know. I was looking forward for Jason. To meet Jason. I've met him a few times. But unfortunately, these things happen.
Yeah. So I'd like to stress that this is a team, a combination of 5, 6, 7 people really supporting it and brainstorming. And I'm not here out my own when I've got problems. I've got you, Roxanne. I've got Jason, John Thor, Dave Mannell, and Robin to shoot things across to try to solve problems. And we've come across a lot of problems, a lot of difficulties, and a lot of stressful situations. But the wheels are still going round, and we're still here. So thanks to everybody in the team, and thanks to everybody who's contributed to this tour. Yeah, and that's the reason it's going. Not one person, not 2 people. It's a combined team effort.
Yeah. And hopefully,
massive shout out in the chat room from Richard Lopez to Harry. Rich Lopez is at work just now. Richard Lopez is in the chat room, Harry. Massive shout out to you from Richard Lopez.
A big shout out to Richie Lopez as well in that group of people. Sorry, Richie, I'm racking my brains here. Richie's been a great support to me and to the group. And
the amount of hours that people have voluntarily taken out to put into this is monumental. Just hours and hours of voluntary time, people's private time. People have rescheduled their whole lives around this tour. It's massive.
I've not met Richie in person, but been very, very impressed with how ready he is to help and support, and he's over in America. I've not even met him, so
it just goes to show how people are out there leading by example of how to conduct ourselves as human beings one another. When we've got to a point where we know what we know,
very humbled
You know?
by Richie.
Me too. Big hugs. Big hugs.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is most of us were all strangers a year ago, and we've all got together and done this thing, and it's massive.
And not just done this thing, become good friends.
Yeah.
Like, well, we know how good friends we are, Roxanne and me and Chris and
There's lots of
John,
people,
Jason, Dave Mantle. I could go on and on and on, but there's firm friendships have been developed there. And when we're in Ireland, you know, I know I just have to phone up a few people and I'd go.
I want to ask a question. When's it too early to? Is it too early to start discussing when the next one's going to be?
No, not at
When
all. I just we should always.
How long is it going to take us to rejuvenate ourselves to go back onto this UK tour again after this? Because if it had it would be a 52-week thing.
That's if we're unjuvenated, which I don't think we are yet. So I should always be looking ahead, trying to do more, be creative and varied to get that message out to see what we can do to reach more people.
Well, I'm off work when the kids are on holiday. You need to work out when the next time you can get off work is, Harry, and then we'll go from there. And Chris needs to work out when he can get away, and everyone needs to work it out because I just want to get on.
At all, yeah.
So it's 24/7.
I'm going to have my own little VW one. I think I'm going to have my own.
I think when you experience it here, I think you'll love it, and I think you'll be wanting it even more so then. Yeah.
I'm going to have like a Scooby-Doo mobile, but except it's going to be a Global one instead. I want to have it vinyl wrapped and everything. It's not a joke, guys. Watch. Next year you're going to.
With flashing lights.
The old style, Roxanne. I'll give you that.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done. As soon as Ray suggested it to me, I was there going, yeah, I think that's a great idea, babe. Let's get a camper. And already I was like envisioning all sorts of wraps, vinyl wraps on it and all sorts.
I predict there'll be quite a few campers doing that next year.
I've got some awesome parking where I live, so parking's not a problem for me. I'm going to be able to park it up, not a problem. In fact, you'll be able to park up yours here as well, not a problem. So,
I've not reserved me a space already.
I should do. I should get the cones out, shouldn't I? I should. I want to give a massive shout out to everyone in the chat room again. Richard Lopez, Nora, No One's Flower, Jason of the Disbury, Jane of Torquay. Thank you so much for tuning in. Pat Mustard, cheers to you too. Thank you for tuning in. Francis, awesome to be here too, my darling. It's brilliant. Joe Mama, you guys kick ass, he says. Absolutely. Massive respect to you all for tuning in. Francis Hill says, all good people doing a great job. Flat Earth Pilgrim, Mark, thank you so much for tuning in, my darling. Dave Hinkle, thank you for tuning in. Chris Raymond, thank you for tuning in. Critical Inception, thank you for tuning in. And thank you to everyone that's here. And thank you to everybody that's found the time to even watch this on a playback as well. I've made sure I put all of the links in the description for how to donate to the tour. You can donate to the tour via PayPal. You can donate to the tour via GoFundMe and Patreon. Also, the link for Harry's channel is in there as well. I suggest you click that link if you haven't done so already, and the bell to subscribe for notifications when Harry goes live. Chris UK's channel in there. Chris UK has done a few experiments, and to those of you that don't know what kind of experiments Chris UK has done with Harry in the past, could you guys give everyone a quick synopsis, if it's possible, of the kind of stuff that you've looked into? Because we did have a few comments today in the chat room on the live feed saying, well, what observations have you lot made? You know, what have you lot done? Yeah?
We did the sun and the stars should move faster on a globe, so that was the talk I did in the garden. We did the swinging gate experiment that showed the gate swinging proving you've knocked me off guard a bit. We did a swinging gate experiment Now we're on to a field of view experiment. It's a bit too complicated to go into details, but watch the video. And I've got a number of other experiments that I want to do that hopefully involves a group of people getting together and helping out to do it. So there's more experiments to come with more and bigger ideas. And I also want to map the star trails. No one's got a map of the star trails, and celestial want to map that. So hopefully I'll be able to do that while we're here if we have some clear nights. So
Brilliant.
part of it.
Excellent. Chris, I want to ask you, out of all of the experiments that you've done, what would you say has been your most successful experiment out of the field of view and the gate one? What would you feel most successful?
The next one that leads on to it, because it's what I'm working on and working towards. It's all led from the very initial talk, and I've learned something from it, from the responses and questions I get from experts in the field, and it's made me question what I've thought, what I've come up with, and I've moved on and on from that. And I've got bigger ideas, but as you get bigger, they get more complicated. So I need to do some experiments that involve people all around the world. So we're hoping to get a group of people together to do the field of view photographs, and we're working out how to take them photographs of the groups of stars and how to get them online and how to compare them, and also mapping the star trails of the celestial equator, doing that. And we've got another one hopefully to do in the Bedford levels, but we don't know yet. I need a long straight run to measure perspective and map that out. So there's quite a few things I've got in my head that I'm working out how to do. It's just getting to do it because it involves other people, not just me. So it's a bit more complicated. So that stuff in the back being worked on in the background, but it's not quite there yet. You know, obviously we've got the tour to do. Next year when we get it all up and running and working properly. So we'll see.
Lovely.
Okay. And more things to look at.
Yeah, lovely. Harry, how did you feel filming those experiments? What did you get out of that in filming them?
I loved it. I just felt quite special being able to do that, because what Chris was trying to get across was is coming from a very simplistic observation point, which I think a lot of people haven't really thought or overlooked.
Handsome.
and filming it, I just wanted to make the most of what he was trying to explain to get across, and that experiment on the gate was just awesome, and just we wanted to put on a roundabout, a child's roundabout in a playground. But for some reason they're doing away with those. You don't see many of those these days.
Health and safety. Yeah.
Health and safety, right. But the gate just was a good substitute, because it had that length where we could have the cameras at different lengths of the gate, which showed the distance of it really well and different speeds of the cameras. So I was just privileged to be filming that, because I hadn't seen any experiments like that done before, and it was Chris contacted me, and yeah, I can get my car quick enough to go down and film him, because I think he's amazing.
I don't know
the work he does. Yeah, I'll have that money. But no, they're fantastic experiments, and the way he explains, but the demonstration you did in the garden, which started off, it was just brilliant.
I know I make mistakes on what I do, and I know, and sometimes a little daft mistakes, but that way I'm being genuine and honest, and it's not rehearsed. It just comes out. That's how it comes out, and I make mistakes. But
I can vouch for that. We just set up and go. He's never researched, rehearsed or practiced it before. Yeah. So it's ad hoc. He knows what he has. He knows what he has in his own mind, and he just wants to express that. And I was just trying to capture it on film. So yeah, I'd say they were privileged to be around that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've got a question from Richie Lopez. He wants to know if any of the media has been reaching out to you while you've been up in Scotland.
No.
We're too fast for them. We can't catch us.
Too fast for them. We can't keep up, Richie. Keep up. Flat Earth Pilgrim said, Roxanne, can you tell Harry I left my tobacco in the camper and I want it back?
No, the dog got it.
Tell Mark the only way he's getting in the back is if he joins us for another day.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You've got your carrot then.
Just a big thank you to just a big thank you to Mark, because he's a good friend of mine, but he's very busy with his studies and work, so he hasn't got much free time. So the fact he came out for a day at all was greatly appreciated by us, and especially by myself. So thanks, Mark. Had a great day.
In the middle of it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Don't want to give too much.
Awesome. Yeah. Another question as well. Ask Harry, this is from 54AMH. Ask Harry if his trip or fall this morning out of the camper was due to the pull of gravity. Ha ha. But I hope you didn't hit yourself. Are you all right? Yeah, he wants to know if you're all right.
I'm rather clumsy. I've done that a few times, actually.
It literally, you know what it looked like? It looked like you literally just went like that. Like, 1 minute the camera was like that, and the next minute it was like on the deck.
I have an extension cable in the cab there, and it's not rolled up, and it got wrapped around my leg, so I left the van, but my leg didn't, so I ended up on the ground. I think it's just old age. I'm losing balance. In fact, I think I should need a carer with me.
I've got John James who wants to know, did Harry get his well-deserved pint of Guinness before he left Ireland? Did you?
You know, the last day, where were we? Belfast. There was a pub just at the end of the corner, and we wanted to go there to have that Guinness, but the ferry was leaving so quickly, so we never got to do that. I just want to implore to people that, you know, I'm sure people are not thinking this, but you know, we're not sitting around having social interactions and drinking in pubs.
No, you save that for the 3rd of November. No, you won't actually, because you'll be driving back to Scotland the next day to go to work. So no. Well, save it for a weekend when you get home.
Yeah. But it's not.
I'll drink for you on the 3rd of November. It's good. I'll drink on behalf of everyone. It's great.
We just finished our activism, sat down, packed everything away, got in the van, and we drove here for what, 3 hours, and then we got another 2 hours to drive till we park up for the night and fall asleep. And then we're up.
That's halfway.
Yeah. So we're not. It's non-stop. No, there's no going to the pub and having 7 pints and going to sleep. It just doesn't. It's not. There's no time. We've not. I think I had a sandwich today in a pub while I went to the toilet and came back out again. So no partying, I'm afraid. So if anyone wants to go in the bus, it's not a party. It's hard work.
Hard work. Richie also wants to know how's Tara dealing with being on the road? How's she liking it?
Sorry, who's asking that?
Richie Lopez wants to know how's Tara liking being on the road.
Hey, Richie. Yeah, well, she especially liked it today because she could just sit in the van next to where we were, and I didn't have to worry about her. So yeah, perfect today. But yeah, she's usually well behaved, and a lot of people take an interest in Tara. And when she comes into the van, she just falls asleep. She's tired.
Aww, so she's loving it so far. Absolutely loving it.
As long as she's with me, she's happy.
Can you give everyone a guesstimate for when you'll be live tomorrow from where John O'Groats?
Where the stress comes from. Did you see that?
A guesstimate, Harry, not accurate.
Guesstimate, that's the word, a guesstimate. Give us a guesstimate. Tomorrow be Sunday.
Well, we're picking up somebody else around 10 o'clock. We need to get a repair done to the van because the very back bottom of the van is a silver backboard where the lights are, and it's riveted onto the wood of the van, right. but I think it's really damp and coming away, so it's flapping about. So we need to get it re-riveted. We'll probably try and do that in the morning, and then we're picking up a friend who runs the Flat Earth shop in Inverness at 10.
Lovely. So
then I have to drive from Inverness to Johnny Groats, which will take 2-3 hours, maybe 4 hours. So okay. I reckon afternoon, 1-2 o'clock-ish.
Brilliant, brilliant. All right, so you heard it here first, guys. Between 1-2 o'clock-ish tomorrow, keep your eyes peeled on John Smith Global. If you're on that notification guide when he goes live. And then I'll try and link up with you tomorrow evening at some point to do a debrief and hear how it went and get a synopsis for where you'll be the following day. But you said tomorrow might be 2 locations, possibly.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it might, but if we get there late, I think it would only be 1. And
Okay.
when we go to Thursday, we don't want to get there too late in the day, so we might leave it till in the morning.
Right.
But then this all depends on the weather as well, because it can be really wild.
Yeah.
So when we're going to Thursday, I was actually born just south of Thursday, so it's wild weather sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, so.
We're going to the tree that Harry was born under. I'm going to look at that.
Yeah, so we've got to play it by ear, really, exactly what time we're going to be where. But
Okay. All right. So tomorrow lunchtime, and then you'll be able to link up with me maybe tomorrow evening for a debrief and to get a synopsis for where you'll, when and where you'll be the following day, if that's all right. Yeah. Everyone. We've had Jason of the Disbury and others pop in the links in the chat box for you. Anything that you can give to donate to this tour is massively appreciated. No matter how small or big your donation, please, it's massively appreciated. It's all going towards the hire of the camper van, which we need to pay weekly, the fuel costs to go up and down the country, the leaflets, and all the other paraphernalia that's needed to keep these live feeds going. Harry's got an external dongle. Obviously, if he was at his house, he'd be able to use his house internet. That'd be a no-brainer, but he's on the road. And he's having to use massive amounts of data to keep these live feeds going. So any donation that you can pop in would be massively appreciated. We're going to keep these live feeds going every day. Harry's going to also make content simultaneously to upload. That in its own right is a rigmarole in its own right, but we're getting through it bit by bit. But you will be able to be updated with the tour every day via live feeds. I'm going to be joining the tour from the 19th onwards for a week. Chris UK is going to be there for about a week. You've done about a day and a bit so far, haven't you, Chris? So far, so good.
Very fast.
So far, so good. Yeah, and so hopefully we're going to get a live from you tomorrow lunchtime. If anyone has any further inquiries, please click anything in the description box. You've got Harry's channel there. You've got FESTART there. You've got Chris's there. Please keep your eyes peeled on the about sections of our YouTube pages, because as soon as we've got dates, we'll put them up there for you so that you can see where and when we're going to be.
Yeah. I don't foresee seeing many people speak to you in Johnny Groats, though, because it's not much of a community there. It's just a land point. So, I'll go live anyway, but there may not be anybody to speak to there. It's just to get our banners out and
let us see what's going on. Let us see what's going on. I want to see what's going on. Don't know about anyone else, but I definitely want to see what's going on. So even if you just go live for me, can you just go live for me, please, so I can be a fly on the wall?
Well, we'll have the van there and we'll have the banners out and we'll do a short video anyway off that. So who knows what will happen.
I want to thank everybody that's taken the time out this evening to tune in and watch us live. A massive thank you. I want to thank you both for taking the time out and using up your batteries and your data for being here on this live feed. I want to thank everyone in the chat room who has been interacting with each other, everyone that's asked questions, all of the mods. Thank you so much for doing an awesome job. And to everybody that we've listed this evening for donating, it's a massive thank you to you all. You're all helping to keep the wheels turning on this tour. And anything that you can give would be massively appreciated. So it's a thank you from me. Is there anything you guys would like to say before we wrap it up?
No, it's a big thank you to everybody you just mentioned.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, my darlings, we'll be back tomorrow. Click Harry's channel and the notification bell, and you'll be notified when he goes live. All right, darlings?
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.